Hello, everyone. Welcome to Development Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studio. With me today, I have a full house. We have Jiunn Liu, Seth Geis, and John McTavish. How you guys doing?
Rolling.
I love beef barley soup.
EP foursome.
BB soup.
All right. So today we are talking about the Winston Churchill Limited Edition 2019 Robusto. Cigar is 5-inch by 50 ring gauge. Comes out of the Davidoff factory in the Dominican Republic. The wrapper is from the Dominican. The binder is Mexican San Andres Negro. The filler is Dominican Piloto Mejorado Visus Criollo Seco and San Vicente Mejorado Visus and Nicaraguan Esteli Visus and Semilla A Visus. I get all that right, Seth?
Listen, as the masseuse said to Robert Kraft, that's a mouthful.
She also got some secret sauce in there.
That's right.
Just like Robert Kraft.
And cigar is priced at $29.90, and it was released in January of 2019. So with all that out of the way, Jiunn, what was your smoking experience like?
First third, it's a pretty strong cigar. I immediately noticed the strength of it, just like, probably like an inch or so in. So it's like medium full the whole way through, body medium. In terms of flavors within the first third, I got a lot of earthiness and spice. So like earthiness and hay, coffee, cocoa, minerals. Spice more closer to like a black pepper spice. There's definitely a prevalent, like a charred burnt character surrounding the whole profile. And I'll get to more of that later on, but retrohaling, it levels up on that spice, as well as it got this like a creamy bread out of it. The finish was pretty long. Got that same char burnt character, toast, black pepper, and then as I move into the second third, it was very similar to that, but I felt like the profile picked up a nice creaminess to it, which helped kind of temper down that char burnt aspect of the cigar. And within the last third, it's still good, but I kind of felt like the cigar's flavors became a bit generic. It's like still got that cocoa, coffee, mineral still there, but I found it a little bit harder to like individually identify them. In terms of construction, it was really good. I mean, burn was very good. The only thing that happened was, for whatever freak reason, I had to relight it within the first third, but the remaining time, it was pretty flawless. In terms of draw, perfect.
All right, Seth, how about you? What were your thoughts on the smoking experience?
Yeah, this is really complex stick. I was getting tons of stuff out of this. But then again, you guys can call me a fucking fanboy, so whatever, man.
Fanboy.
First third, I was getting some dry earth, some cocoa powder to it. There was some woodiness. I was getting some mustiness, soft spices, cinnamon, a little bit of like anise, licorice, pepper. And I kid you not, I was getting a little bit of tangerine qualities right up front. Not gonna lie to you, I'm not on crack. Got into the second third, there was more of this salted wood, minerals, toasted walnuts, earthy, spicy, cayenne pepper, a little bit of cocoa, coffiness, still getting that tangerine thing. Really complex, good transitioning, medium full. It's a cigar with body and strength to it. And then when I get into the final third, comes down a little bit. It's just more oaky, black coffee, smokiness, creamy, some sweet sugar, spices, pepper. Still complex, medium full. Really great construction from start to finish on it. I know they say it's a 5x50 Robusto. I don't think it's 5x50. I think it's smaller than that. At least 5x48, but really good smoke. What about you, John?
Well, it's interesting because listening to you guys' flavor descriptors, I think I land kind of right between the two of you. I got that, you're talking about the mustiness, I got that classic Davidoff musty mushroom right away. And then what did I get after that? That's right. Sour citrus, baby. Woo! And then
Yes!
it was just like immediately spices, like, and yeah, it doesn't take any time to ramp up. It's like immediately medium full. Some cedar, some sweetness underneath that, a little bit of lingering pepper, which kind of built as the first third continued on. It had a lot of flavors going on. I think for a lot of Davidoff smokers, this cigar might be a little too intense for their portfolio, because this is way outside the typical strength wheelhouse of a lot of Davidoff, most Davidoffs. The pepper kind of calms down, and the citrus calms down a little bit, so it ends up being kind of an anchor flavor through the first third, which is really nice. Then I get some cocoa, creaminess. The mushroom flavor, kind of the mustiness, kind of falls off to maybe more of an accent flavor. And then the middle third, I get this earthiness that builds up. Hey, there's the earthiness. The mushroom kind of comes back on the retrohale. And then the citrus is still there, but the sour kind of component of that citrus is gone. So it's just more of a sweet citrus. And I actually found the last third pretty consistent for me. Chocolate, baking spices. The mushroom and earth were still there, but I would say they were kind of being dragged along by the chocolate and baking spices. They weren't really that strong. And then there was this kind of interesting herbal flavor that came through. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but it was just kind of an anchor point.
Did you say
I also had.
Did you say
sorry?
herbal? Did you say herbal?
Herbal, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Herbal.
That sound like herbal. I heard herbal.
I heard herbal. Cool,
what?
Whip. Cool
Cool
whip.
whip. Say cool, cool. Say whip, whip. Say cool whip, cool whip. Now, interestingly enough, I actually had some burn issues. So, Jiunn, you're not the only one. I had some slight waviness to the burn in the first third. Then it actually canoed on the first third to middle third. So I actually had to touch it up because I couldn't just let it go. And then I had to do another touch up in the middle third, and then a relight. So really weird. Now, when I smoked this in the Dominican, didn't have any burn issues. So, I don't know what's up with that.
When did you review this? Probably recently then, right? You had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I smoked it in the
Probably his
Dominican and I
humidor.
reviewed it here.
It's probably humid air.
Yeah, that's right.
It's his humidor.
That
It's
8%
his humidor.
humidity is too much for the cigar to burn. Now, the ash did hold on really, really well, 2 inches plus, and it actually didn't want to get knocked off. Draw, of course, was perfect. I would say it was a half notch towards resistant, but that's perfect for me. What was your experience like, Aaron?
Yeah, for me, slightly charred wood, baking spice, a light mustiness there, about a half-inch in, get some earthiness that joins the profile, has a kind of a faint vegetal note on random draws. Retrohale has a baking spice up front, the wood and mustiness is slightly behind it. As the first starts coming to close, charred wood, mustiness, earth, baking spice, strength slightly above medium. Getting to the second third, mustiness is right behind the charred wood. This little earthiness present there. Baking spice is really faint in the background. Mustiness starts to pick up about a half-inch in, and then about an inch in, charred wood takes the lead over the mustiness, and the earthiness still slightly behind those. Baking spice drops out. Retrohale's got the mustiness up front, charred wood slightly behind it, and strength in that second third is still slightly above medium. Getting the final third, charred wood, mustiness, earthiness, all at equal levels. Charred wood picks up a little bit, about a quarter-inch in. Char starts to settle down about a half-inch in, but still leads the profile. Mustiness and earth are paired up right behind it. Retrohale's got that charred wood, mustiness, and the earth all at equal levels. And then the strength hasn't moved, is still slightly above medium. I've been on a nice bad burning Davidoff kick lately. I mean, Chef's Edition, Luke Bryan Edition, then this one. Really wavy. Required a couple of touch-ups, went out once requiring a relight. Ash held on 1-inch increments. In regards to the draw, a little bit looser than I prefer, but it didn't cause any issues with the smoking experience. So Jiunn, overall, what were your thoughts on this one?
So I think like the vast majority of what Davidoff cigars should bring you, it is complex. It's it's transitional, and it should be just really good cigar to smoke, right? Like it should be tasty. I think this Winston LA19 has that, but one of the major downside that almost like killed it for me, especially at times, was when I was talking about earlier the charred burnt notes. I mean, I think within that note, it's a fine line between having it as like a good accented flavor, and it could also just destroy the other flavor profiles that's within that cigar. So I had a hard time with that. That's why I kind of felt like this cigar was never at that point where it was incredibly good, because I kept tasting that. I always kind of fell through, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm still tasting this charredness and this like burnt characteristic to it. It's not really driving with my palate. So, and then within the the burn not being as perfect. I don't know, man. Like I feel like if they're gonna charge a $30 cigar, it should perform flawless, regardless of regardless of user error. But not so much Canada user error, because that's just way too fucking cold up there and too dry. So, yeah.
All right, Seth, what were your overall thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought really high of it. I thought it was great. I thought it had, I didn't have construction issues. I know you guys appear to have some. Maybe I just got the luck of the draw there, but really complex flavor profile, a lot of depth, good transitioning, really strong, really pronounced. It was kind of a really good, interesting departure, but really great stick, I thought, overall. That's my thoughts. But you, John?
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I mean, it like I said, it's definitely, I would say, well outside the majority of the Davidoff portfolio, which is fine with me because I enjoyed the strength. I enjoyed the flavors, I enjoyed the strength. It was interesting that the sample I smoked in the DR performed in terms of burning construction differently than the one I smoked here, especially given the one that I smoked here has been sitting for, 8 months in a humidor that's, plenty of cigars have come out and burned without any issues. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But I did appreciate that the profile had that kind of classic anchoring Davidoff mushroom flavor. I think to me, there's always a risk that Davidoff goes too far away from their sort of classic profile and just ends up making cigars for, the hipsters like us that like to smoke new and strange stuff. So it's nice that they're still, while they're branching out, they're still kind of staying within their key flavor profile, I think. Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought the cigar was good. Just had those burn issues that were going on, like Jiunn said. I mean, I think at the price point, you're not expecting that to be a player in your experience. But I definitely think it's probably the strongest Winston Churchill that they make, and that's fine if you're, if you have enough people that are coming to the brand that are open to that. If they're just, classical Winston Churchill smokers, it may be a little too much for them, but maybe it's a way to bring other people into the brand. So that's possible as well. For me, though, I just didn't think this girl was good enough to warrant the price. So, it's probably not something I'm going to really go back to for that. But I think if you're a smoker that likes fuller offerings and you probably don't gravitate to this brand or Davidoff, maybe it's a way to bring you into that. So let's get into the scores. We'll start at the top. Seth, you gave it an 8.38. Jiunn, you were next at 7.07.
Oh, snap!
Lesser fanboy.
John, you were third at 6.97.
Voice of reason.
I gave it a 6.37. So Seth, 8.38.
Listen, man, I'm a fan of these things, so I've smoked a bunch of them even before I was down in the DR. So it's just I think it's a really good stick. I just think, there is this. It's a departure from the classic Davidoff, but it kind of shows some of those Davidoff qualities. But I just think it goes to show the skills of the company and their blending team that they can do a lot of stuff with tobacco from all over the place, which you don't see that with a lot of other companies. So yeah, I think it's fantastic.
All right, Jiunn, 7.07.
I don't think have I ever smoked Davidoff where I was like, this thing freaking sucks. Like, so this is a good cigar, but at the same time, I expect more out of Davidoff than this. And this example shows it, where I'm basically saying, hey, it's a good cigar, I'll smoke it again. I don't know if I want to pay $30 for it. Actually, no, I don't want to pay $30 for it. But yeah, it's a good score. It's a good score.
All right, John, 6.97.
Yeah, it's tough to quantify when you get up over the, I would say, $15, $16 mark. You're really into ultra premium, and it's really tough to quantify that experience in terms of flavor. I would say if this sample that I smoked performed as I would expect a Davidoff to perform, and I certainly smoked enough of them when I was down in the Dominican, this should really be in the low 7s, 7.25. So that's entirely a construction issue, which really shouldn't happen with a Davidoff ever. The price point is concerning. I mean, I think if you're a Davidoff smoker and you're the kind of guy that smokes a lot of LA Davidoffs, it's not an issue. But I think for someone who wants to get a super limited edition, that price point might be a tough thing for them to swallow.
That's what you just said, John. I mean, I wonder if that's a risk, right? Because within all the Winston Churchills that has come out from Davidoff, none of them has been nearly as strong as this, right?
No, not even close.
Or had
I would
even
say
this kind of
this is
profile.
just over medium, yeah.
Yeah, this is the strongest one.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
curious if if fans that know the Winston Churchill brand of Davidoff so well, if this is gonna bring them in, or if it's gonna kind of deter them. It's such a different profile. So
It really
don't
is.
think
I mean, I would. Sorry.
Go ahead, John. No, you go.
I was gonna say I would say, because like I said, I smoked probably 60 or 70 Davidoffs when I was down in the DR, and I would say the average profile of a Davidoff across their entire line is probably light plus, maybe medium minus at the most. So to go medium full, pushing that full envelope, that's a huge jump up for a lot of smokers. But maybe there's been a lot of request for more full-bodied Davidoff from the fans.
yeah.
Yeah, and I gave this a 6.37. I mean, I thought the flavor profile was good. Just the burn was a bit of a bear, and I think the issues for the burn kind of took a toll on the final third for me, so it dropped it down a little bit more. So, and then with that aside, price point's just another factor. I mean, you're looking at other cigars in this price point from Davidoff. You have some of those master selections that are, Toro extras. So you get a lot more cigar for your money. Still a lot for the cigar, but I mean, you get a lot more smoking experience, stuff like that. So, you have to kind of weigh it in regards to that. So the question I wanted to throw out to Seth and John, and you guys might have some more insight, is the cigar is kind of dubbed as the Traveler, but there's no identifier of that on the cigar itself. There may be some on the box. You guys have seen the box, so I'm sure if that's...
It's all over the box.
Okay, so, I mean, it just seems odd that it's like...
What does that mean? What is that? Someone educate me on what that Traveler aspect
Yeah, well,
of
the box is kind of like the old suitcases that Winston Churchill had.
Right.
Oh,
So, yeah. The box is great, and it does kind of have like this little suitcase vibe to it.
Yeah.
Davidoff packaging, man. They know how to package a really nice cigar.
Yeah, but once the cigar's out of the box, though, it loses all that.
No, and the one thing I'll say is they know how to package things well, but I don't think a lot of it goes in their packaging. But what I will agree with you guys on the pricing when you talk about it is you have other limited editions that have come out from them that are like $30, and you say are like Toro Extras, Gordos, and then you get to this, and it's like, whoa, that's a big, it's a Robusto. If they say 5x50, I think it's like more like a 5x48, but that's a big difference for a $30. I mean, then you're really coming down to, I guess, tobacco that's being used, and that's where it's...
Are they paying any royalties or any sort for the naming?
Oh, I have no idea. They probably have something worked out.
Maybe that's part of the pricing. I don't know.
I didn't get any money.
I didn't get any money.
Okay, Big Tavish.
Hey, I'm just saying, Winston Churchill, man. It's my family.
And the other thing I was just busting balls with Seth is I told him that the 2019 cigar year was going to be pretty boring for him since he's already knocked his cigar of the year out in February. So
yeah, seriously, it's all downhill from here, man.
It's all downhill from here.
Just stop reviewing other cigars.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. All right, any other thoughts on this cigar?
Would help me out.
All right, if you just catch this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. We'll also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Follow us on all the social media channels, and you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.